What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 14 different altcoins in this video. All of the coins that I'm talking about will be left in the description below, in a list in the description below. There will be corresponding timestamps with the appropriate ticker as well down there. If you guys could hit the like button and subscribe, I would very much appreciate that. Thank you, and shout out to all the new subscribers that have joined the channel recently. Man, all the comments, all the kind words that I'm just seeing from everybody, the new subscribers and the old subscribers, I'm really appreciative. Thank you guys very much. It is. I know I've been saying this a lot lately, but it really does mean a lot to me, man. It helps keep me going. It gives me a lot of good energy, and I really am grateful for you guys. Shout out to all the OGs on that note as well. Thank you all for being here. Let's get started. Let's talk about this. Right, we're going to talk about Algorand first and foremost for Papa Bear, and I want to go over a few things with this chart. I was actually looking at it a little bit ago, and I think it's kind of interesting. We'll talk about the short-term stuff, and then there's some good-looking long-term stuff for this chart that gives me faith that you will see prices above last cycle's high. But we'll see. We'll see. There's definitely some reasons for that. I feel like it's obvious if you look at this chart right now. But looking at the weekly time frame here, if we pull in an overall low from an overall high, you have pulled back to your 236. It's very uncommon to find support on the 236 and build from there, but it happens sometimes. So it is possible this is your low. However, I would generally expect that you do at least go to your 382. And that makes a lot of sense to me. Being here at about 30 cents, the 382, you likely go even just below that. What's right below this 382 line right here is this weekly closing high, right? Previous areas of resistance right here, previous areas of resistance right here, and previous areas of support back here. It wouldn't surprise me if Algorand went all the way down to 27.5 cents. If not at least around 30 cents, right? So something like that. At a bare minimum, I would expect somewhat of an interaction with this high, which is at about 33 cents. So the overall range we're getting is about 27.5 to 33 cents, something in there. I would expect closer to 30 cents itself is what my expectation is. Probably just below 30 cents, though. You don't have to go all the way to 27.5, but you could. Don't be scared if you do. If we look at this thing on a daily perspective, it looks like you had a nice sell-off yesterday. Actually, on a 4-hour perspective, if we look at this, it does appear that you're in this kind of downward sloping trend with the RSI, right? It would appear to me that you're going to have a bounce, and you probably do have one last sell-off. Maybe you get a lower low, maybe you get some bullish divergence, who knows, but I would expect there is a little bit lower to go. But with the 4-hour being here, let me go all the way back here, being right here, I would expect a bounce today, probably today, and then going into tomorrow, if not the next day, we would start selling off again. So what I'm expecting is something like this, right? We'll move up kind of slowly today, maybe move back up to 45 cents, 46 cents over the next day and a half, something like that, and then going into maybe not even a full day, honestly. Going into tomorrow or the next day, we'll probably start pulling back down again slowly. I would assume we slowly kind of grind down, and then as we get back around like 40 cents or lower, we might see that next drop take place that takes us pretty close to 30 cents. I'm expecting this overall process to find the low to take place over the next, this week here that we're in right now, which is 5 days, 21 hours left, or sometime in early next week. So we've got probably about like anywhere from like 7 to 14 days of and maybe not even 7, let me say probably like 6 to 14 days of time. No, that's not how it would work. It would be 7 to 13 days. If I'm taking a day away, it'd be 7 to 13. So 7 to 13 days of time left in this drop is my expectation. Maybe at the very least 3 days left of this drop, but I don't expect it to happen all at once. And from here on out, I would think that we're probably going to have a little slow crawl kind of going down, and then one last little sell-off. That's kind of my opinion. But I'm rambling at this point. I gave you the price zone, 27.5 cents to 33 cents, likely closer to 30 cents, just below 30 cents is what I'm expecting, right around this weekly closing high here, maybe just above that. I really like this look on Algorand because you do have a nice kind of double bottom coming into this, right? You've got a nice U there and a nice cup here, right? That's what they call an eve and eve double bottom. Look it up. It's a double bottom formation, eve and eve. Normally you get Adam and Eves, but this is equally as bullish, right? Very bullish thing going on here. It's very common to back test the central point here and then continue forwards. So I do think that's exactly what you're going to do, and then continue upwards and onwards. Overall, by the end of the year, by the end of this month, going into January, I would expect Algorand's above 75 cents, probably even onwards above $1. You could be as high as like $1.80, $1.90 by the end of January. So you're in the midst of a breakout move still, just having a little pullback along the way. That's Algorand. Let's talk about AMP next. AMP at the request of unlawful law. Looking at it here on a weekly basis. Overbought, yes, on the RSI, coming down a little bit. Daily was overbought, looking like it kind of broke this trend. Maybe not. Maybe I'm reaching with that. Let's not say that. But it does look like you had a bearish a bearish engulfing candle here. It does look like you're probably going to see a little bit of a rollover, a little bit of a correction here. 4-hour RSI is definitely looking a little bit sad. So kind of like algo though, you are at this lower part of the RSI. Don't be surprised if you pump a little bit from here. You might have a green day. Maybe we see a little relief across the altcoin markets. But what I would bet we do today, if not, we might have already done it, is back test previous areas of support for resistance. And if we look at today already, first 4 hours of the day, we have 41 minutes left. Is that right? Yeah. The high has already back tested these previous areas of support. So, I mean, you might have already had your move up, and now you're going to continue moving down. I definitely do believe AMP has more to go. It's possible that that could have been the low, but I do believe that it has more to go. I would think a standard retracement off of this low to high is suitable, and that'd be at around 0.0077, something around there. It's very common to go just below there, but that's kind of the area that I would expect, 0.0077. With this kind of fib in mind, the expectation would be that we hold 0.00844. So that's not super common in consideration to this fib here, but it could happen. I mean, that's right above the 382. You don't have to go to the 382. And actually, furthermore, what you could do is pull down, wick below the white line here, below 0.00844, wick to 0.00774, and then close back above here. That's fine. Something like that. I could see that happening. I'm going to stick with it. 0.00774 around there is where I think you're going to go ultimately. And again, maybe for now, maybe for a good bit of this week, we kind of move up. Maybe not a good bit of this week. Today, we might move up or sideways a little bit. And then tomorrow and the next day, we'll slowly start moving back down to the bottom end of this wick here on a daily basis. And then once we get to the lower part, we'll probably see that next phase down toward those lower areas. But we're very close. We're very, very close. That bottoming area here, coming in at previous areas, you can't really see it here, but that's previous areas of resistance here. I'll mute it so you can see previous areas of resistance here. Previous areas of support even going back here, and resistance back here, all coming in line very well with this 0.00884 to 0.00774 area. I said 884, I meant 844. So that's where I think you're going to go. Find some support and move higher. Yeah, that's my thoughts for AMP. Let's continue on with ACH for Jennifer Joy. ACH, Alchemy Pay. One of the favorites in the Discord. A lot of people in the Discord, I think, like this one. Big sell-off, big dramatic sell-off. He dumped hard, 19%. Hell yeah, you did. You fell right off a cliff. Finding resistance in the areas that you've been finding resistance over the past few times. If we look at this, I wonder if that's a 786 rejection, because these harsh rejections, man, they're common with 786 rejection, baby. It's classic. But these rejections, they are pretty fast, and oftentimes you do find support at the 0.5. Oftentimes you do. So that could have been it. I mean, that was a larger rejection. That was a larger move down than most coins had. That could have been it, With the door open that you could go lower, I would think the lowest you go would be the 382. Previous areas of resistance back here, previous kind of areas of resistance back here, support right there. And I'm sure going back in time, we probably find more significance, yes, going through, yeah, all the way. Look at that. Resistance literally in the same level. So 2.3 cents, 2.34 cents, looking like a good area to go to, I think. If not, you might have already found your low. Let's look at the 4 hour and kind of determine that a little bit. Genuinely, how much lower can you go, man, on your RSI? You're reaching for a 10. That's absurdly low, right? You've only been this low so many times in your 4 hour. Let's look at what you've done each time, right? I'm going to draw a line on there so we can kind of better see it. Something like that, right? So here, look, major low, dropped off, and then boom, pumped up hard. You pumped real hard, right? Got pretty close down here. You kept going lower though, right? And I wouldn't say it looks pretty close when we're zoomed out. But if you click in, I promise you, a 16, a 17 read is a lot different than a 13 read on the RSI. They don't seem like they're that far away, but it is a difference. And you can see it in the price action too. But still, huge rip. Even if you sold here, or even if you were just patient right there, or let's say you bought there. That's what I meant to say. Let's say you bought there, like this one here. If you bought at the bottom, you would have had a nice rip. If you bought here, well, it would have kept going, but the rip itself came right back to where you bought. So very powerful rips whenever we find the lows. But that one didn't hit this line. Let's see if we can find another one that hits this line. Back here. Right there, look at that dip and then rip, bro. Right there, hit the line there. It did go a little bit lower. So it's like a 50-50 chance. It's like a 50-50 chance that you go lower from here. So that didn't help us too much. But what I would expect on the 4 hour, just looking at it, man, we got to zoom way in. We were so zoomed out. I would expect you get a little bounce here, whether it's a dead cat bounce or not. You could see prices above 3 cents, maybe even as high as like 3.4 cents. But you probably do work your way back down through the rest of the week. Maybe even into the early parts of next week. But I would think next week, if not the week after, we do start moving back up again. So ACH potentially found its low. If it has found its low, expect it to be boring really throughout the rest of this week and going into next week. Expect it to be boring, kind of like this, right? Just like this, except instead of a pump leading into this boringness, it's a dump leading into it, right? Something like this, right? Just boring. Expect it to be boring is what generally it's going to be. And if it does go lower, it's not going to be by much, right? At the lowest, what I would expect you to go to. Oh wait, no. Let's use the. I think this one is going to be better. The lowest I think you go to is probably 2.3 cents. Yeah, I like that 2.3. If not just a little lower, but around there, and that's the best I got to say for that. So there's that. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you haven't. Let's carry on with this video, but just a friendly reminder to hit that like button, baby. Helps me out. Gets the content out there. Helps the channel grow. I think this is it, right? Moonwell on base. No. Moonwell. Is it moon? Is it just moon? Moonwell. Moonwell on base chain for Clay Cow. You know, I got Moonwell Apollo, but and it says base. That is base there, but it's wrapped ETH. Let me see here. Moonwell on base chain. Moonwell on chain app. Protocol on base. Okay, Moonwell. This is why it's important to you guys. If you can leave the tickers instead of overall ranking, number 57. Well, yeah, leave the ticker well instead of the name. It helps better, right? It's better for me. I'm actually going to put this up as Bitcoin here, and then I'm going to go over here. Bitcoin's sitting at 95.8K, man. Crazy, right? It's crazy. I was talking to one of my buddies, or maybe it was somebody on the Discord. Not that the Discord people aren't my buddies, but normally if I say I'm talking to one of my buddies, I mean in real life. But it might have been someone on the Discord who's also my buddy, probably. It's crazy that this feels like we're down, right? We're at 96K and we're down right now. I think that's funny, right? How far we've come. Anyways, Moonwell. If we're looking at it here, again, this is at the request of Clay Cow. We're at about 8 cents here from a high to a low. 786. Look at that sharp 786 rejection, man. It just takes you all the way down. I would say it's kind of in the same boat as ACH. It could have found its low already right off that 0.5. I like that. Maybe it does have a little lower to go. Just a little bit lower. You see a slightly lower low than this. Or you could go all the way back down to your 382. Either way, and that 382, at the rate you're kind of going, that'd be a nice higher low coming in there. I don't know. Maybe by the end of this week, you could be at 6.8, 6.9 cents, something like that. Probably around 6.8 to 6.9. If not by the end of this week, sometime early next week is what I would expect. 4 hour, sorry guys. 4 hour RSI would suggest you have lower to go. You are even rejecting off your 618 here. You can kind of see it, right? You tipped your 618 for resistance, back tested previous areas of resistance for resistance, and now you're gaining momentum to the downside. I think you're probably going to go down to 6.9 to 6.8 cents. That's my thoughts for well. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so that's Moonwell. Let's talk about DIA. DIA for JS14. This is for you. DIA. Hell of a downfall, hell of a sell-off. This does not look like a 786 rejection. 618 rejection. All the way down to your 236. That's rugged, man. That's pretty bad, actually. You don't normally want to see that kind of stuff. That's a big move without that much volume too. Do we have anything like why did you sell off so much? That's a rather large candle without that much volume backing it up. That tells me this either there's something wrong, like devastatingly wrong, or this move is false and you're about to eat it right up. Like this is a huge bear trap right here. I mean, I don't think you go lower, Dia. I don't know. If you do go lower, you're in some trouble, man. I don't think you do. I don't think you go lower. I think Dia probably finds support actually and starts moving up. Yeah. I'm going to call it. I think that was your low, man. I think that was your low for Dia. DIA. So similar thing. I don't think you're just going to bounce up immediately, but you probably just kind of are boring for a little bit. And then sometime early next week or even later next week or getting into that week before Christmas or week of Christmas, that would be when we start to probably move back up. By the end of the month, I would think this thing's at like $1.15 to $1.24 or higher. You're at 76 cents now. I don't think you go too much lower. If I'm wrong and that's not your low, 69 cents will be your low. Hey, that's the second one in a row that wants to hit 69 cents. Or maybe it was 6.9 cents on the last one. I can't remember. SD for JS14 as well. Stater. A little bit of rejection here, higher lows. It does seem as though you're in this kind of ascending triangle range. So I would say for Stater too, it seems maybe you find support here. Right? You sold off last time and look at what you did. You were just moving sideways, being boring, right, for a little while, and then you pumped again, right? You sold off last time and look what you did. You're just being boring. You had a little bit of a dump, but I would expect something very similar, right? For the next week, half a week, week and a half, whatever, you're just kind of moving, and then sometime around Christmas time, right, that'll be when you break this baby. So I think you're done moving down. If you move down a little bit lower, but you've probably had most of your move already, I think, yeah. Yeah. Looking in the face of death right now, saying I don't think you go lower, or if you do, if you get a lower low than this, it's going to be barely, not much at all. I think you've seen it, man. You've got bullish divergence on your 15-minute time frame here. By the time you watch this video, watch, man. I bet this thing's already. I bet you have found your low, and I bet you're up here. Like again, though, I don't think you're just going to rip right up from here. I think probably next week, as early as next week, that could be when you see another move up. But likely, you'll probably just kind of be boring and move sideways with pumps and dumps, maybe as high as like $1.24, $1.30, as high as that, and then back down to around these prices at $1.06. You probably do that for the next week or so, week or 2 weeks, maybe. Probably not 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer than a week, but at the very least, like 4 or 5 more days, I would think. Probably a week, probably a little longer than a week is what I'm thinking for Stater. So boring sideways. Christmas time, ho, ho, ho. Santa Claus is coming to town. All right, that's that. Let's talk about Zcash for cow. Zcash with another harsh sell-off, man. All these guys with their harsh sell-offs. I don't know why I got to clear my throat so much today, guys. $55.47 from a high to a low. Right up to your 0.5, right down to your 382. I don't think you go lower. I think you have found your low. Good job. A lot of these, man. They look really good. This actually, seeing all these coins looking like they found their lows, it makes me think that some of the coins I was calling for to go lower earlier, they could have found their lows. And I was saying throughout all of them, they might have found their lows, but they could go down. And some of them could, but that, I don't think you go lower, man. And if you do, barely. But I don't think you do. I think Zcash, we're looking in the face of death, confidently calling a low, finding support in areas that you found support in your RSI before. You kind of found support here. You found resistance in this area before, right? All similar areas. And you're finding significance now on the 382, looking very productive on your fib levels here. I want to see another fib real quick, another more relative fib. Let's see. High to low here. Beautiful, dude. I'm convinced that's it. That was the low. Yeah, very uncommon to find support at the 236, but it happens sometimes. It does happen. If you were to go lower, you're at 55 bucks now. The lowest I'd see you going is 43 bucks. Okay, so it is possible you could do that. I don't know if you do though. I don't know if you do, man. I don't think you do. I think you found your low. I think Zcash found its low at $51, $52, whatever that was, whatever that low is there. What is it? 51.50? Yeah. And now you're moving up, or slash being boring probably, right? You could do something like this where you sold off, you have a big pump that gives back most of that sell off, and then you're kind of just boring for another week, and then you slowly start to move up after that, right? Maybe you do something just like that, right? But I would expect boring. You probably do have a nice retracement back up to like $67, $69, somewhere in that area. And you don't break that. I wouldn't think you break that until sometime next week, if not the week after. That's my thought. So probably consolidating in this area is what you're going to do with like an upward edge and then break out to the upside eventually. Yeah, that's my thoughts for Zcash. QRL. Good time to accumulate, guys. By the way, really good time to accumulate all these coins. This one's at the request of Mr. Hat. We're doing this for you, my friend. Wow. Quantum resistant ledger. Hold up now. There was something else he wanted me to do, wasn't there? Wasn't it? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Maybe I should have done this one on its own, but whatever. We'll talk about it here. QRL up 170% yesterday, up 10% today. Beautiful move. Let's see, what else is it on here? On MEXC. Not a lot of volume. Probably just pumped because of that quantum news. Mr. Hat, I heard about that stuff. We'll talk about it. But you're at 97 cents now. I'm not fazed by it, man. It's the same narrative every single cycle, right? They always talk about quantum computers taking away everybody's keys, making Bitcoin and crypto obsolete, but I don't I still don't think we're there with quantum technology, right? We'll see. But if that was the case, why haven't they taken a bunch of cryptos already, or why hasn't some? They could do it. They could do it and get away clean, right? Like, why haven't they taken hundreds of billions of dollars? I don't know. I don't think the technology is actually actively available to do that kind of stuff. But we'll talk about it. $1 hitting the 1618, huge move up, huge candlestick up off your 618 to your 1618. Yeah, you probably find some resistance here. Probably, man. You're above your 90 on your daily. Well above the 90, reaching for 100 on the 4-hour, yeah. 1 hour with some bearish divergence, yes. Yeah, you probably find some resistance here. I bet you pull back. You're at 97 cents. I bet you pull back to 65 cents. If you don't hold 65, 66 cents there, you probably pull all the way back down to 40 cents to 46 cents. Very, very possible to pull back to 40 to 46 cents. Just be aware of that. But ultimately, yeah, I think you're on a path higher. I very much do expect you found resistance here, though. High to low. Yeah, it's perfect. But you probably are on a path to $1.53, $2.50, somewhere in that zone by the end of this month, by the end of January. A little bit lower first and then up. That's my thoughts. And then let's go over. You were saying, along with TA and a ramble for a bit, you wanted me to talk about this. Let's see. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull it up so you guys can see it too. Hold up, okay. Let's see. Pull it up here. Boom. All right. I think you should be able to see it. Let me see. Yep. Okay, cool. Deny. We will deny the access of cookies. So Google's new Willow chip accelerates time to market for quantum computing, experts say. Experts. Who are these so-called experts? Where can we quote them? Why do we just say experts and we don't get a name or a face? Who are these experts? Or are they experts at all? And that's why you don't give us a name and a face, because they know that they're not experts themselves. Let's see. Google has unveiled WILLOW, its latest quantum computing chip, claiming it can perform tasks that normally take the fastest supercomputers an unthinkable amount of time in just under 5 minutes, right? And when they say unthinkable amount of time, because I read about this earlier, they're meaning like hundreds of years of these computers that are sophisticated enough to solve advanced math problems that would take humans even longer to solve. These computers that take hundreds of years to solve some certain types of problems, this supercomputer can solve in less than 5 minutes, right? And it's a quantum computer, right? But the thing is, it's probably only specific types of problems. Again, specific. It's very, for quantum computing, it's always very directed. It's not something that you can be, and when I say specific, I mean that it is specific in its use, but you can't be specific with it. It just does what it does. If you try to alter that or point it, if you try to point it at something else, it doesn't operate the way that it was intended to, if that makes sense. We're just, I don't know if I'm explaining it the best way, but to my knowledge, we're so new with quantum computing. It's like a fire hose, and every time we open it, every time we let it go, it's just uncontrolled wildness. It gets things wet. We're proving it that we can shoot water out of this thing. We can do that, but we're not, we can hit the building with it even, but we don't have full control. Like that's, I don't know if that's the best analogy, but that's what I got here. But I'm not an expert. I might be as much of an expert as the guy that made this claim here. I don't know though. For all intents and purposes, I am the expert that made this claim. We don't know, do we? Errors are one of the greatest challenges in quantum computing. And that's good. They broke the, they're solving things, they're putting things together. I don't want to read this too much. This isn't like a review video, but I don't know. I don't think much of it, Mr. Hat. I think it sounds like a bigger deal, and it might be a step on an overall greater path to figuring out quantum computing. But I don't think it's a big deal. I'm not worried about it. I mean, if it was a big deal, we would have seen Bitcoin sell off a lot more than it did yesterday. Right? It wouldn't look like this, you guys. If quantum computing was a genuine risk, it would be bad. It would be very, very bad, right? The candle, we wouldn't see this. This is not quantum computing becoming a reality and all of crypto goes to shit. That's not what this candle is, right? You thought the COVID crash was bad. That would be devastating, right? Absolutely it would be. At least I think we theorize it would be. I don't know. What if we used quantum computing to mine Bitcoins? We just mine them all? Okay, but then doesn't the overall server, the overall network become that much more secure if you just have a bunch of quantum computers working it? I don't know. Nobody knows. It's all theoretical at this point. Nothing really concrete yet. But anyways, nice little detour. Let's talk now about OpenSea. Open Custody Protocol at the request of less is more. Less is more. And yeah, the reason why I didn't want to keep going on about that is because I'm probably just not the best. I'm not the most well-versed person. I'm certainly not an expert. I feel like I'm just trying to give my opinion because that was your request, but I got nothing really else to say other than my most basic thought of the matter, which is it's probably not that big of a deal. It sounds like it's a bigger deal than it is. That's my thoughts. So open custody here for you, less is more. I would say you probably don't go too much lower. I think that you don't go below 1.1 cents. You might not even go lower than you are now. You're very soon to break above this 236 area and go all the way up to this 382. You're very soon to see prices at 9 cents. You're at 1.2 cents now. I would think by the end of this month, if not by the end of January, you're up here. You're going to see a very sharp move within the next month. It's going to be glorious. And in fact, this might be the winner, honestly, man, of tonight's video. It's a real shame, though, because, like, where do you buy it? Is it the same thing? Yeah, it is. You can buy it on BitGet, apparently. Anyways, yeah, looks good. Looks good, man. Let's look at the daily. I don't think you go lower, man. I want to look into this because I'm like, what are you? Why do you look so good? Yeah, you look great, honestly. Like, you look really good. I don't think you go lower. I think you're about to blow up. Like, I really think you're about to see a wicked run, man. The biggest run that you've ever seen in this thing's history. Like, in the fastest pace, too. Probably up to 9 to 10 cents. That's my thoughts. I can be wrong, but that's my thoughts, man. Pharaoh is the next one for Dell. Dell, I was looking up Pharaoh and I could not find it, man. I was like typing in Pharaoh here, there's nothing, right? I was like, are you talking about the stock, USD? You guys, I probably spent 15 minutes trying to figure this out because Dell, you said you've been requesting this. I didn't want you to feel like you haven't been heard, but I pulled out all the stops to try and figure out what Pharaoh was, and I think this is the one that you want. But again, guys, use the tickers. Don't tell me the coin's name. Use the tickers, because right now I'm thinking for Dell this is the right one, but I'm not 100% sure. At any rate, though, Pharaoh, not a great looking chart. Looks like it's very low liquidity. We get these random wicked spikes in this weird ass price action. I'm not confident that this is the one that you requested. Maybe it was a typo. I don't know. But if this is the one you requested, Pharaoh, it's going down, my friend. It's going down to new all-time lows, probably 0.0015 over the months. Enough said on that. Enough said on that. If this was the one that you wanted, I don't know if it is though. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't like it. I don't like the chart at all. Stay away. Next one is Bond for Daniel Walsh. Barnbridge. You're asking if this one is still valid or if it's just done. It looks like we got to this one a little late to the party, unfortunately. Bullish divergence on the weekly. I definitely think you bounce soon. Let's look at this here. Low to high. Look at you right at your 1272 area. Okay. What about this low to high? Come on now. Low to high. 1272 tipping it. Yeah. Bullish divergence. I like it. Right at the lows of this kind of trend line here. Yeah. You're probably going to bounce here. You probably do bounce here. You're at $1.03. I bet you see a nice bounce all the way up to about $1.93 to $2.27, somewhere in there. Will you go higher than that? I don't know. That remains to be seen, but definitely a bounce from here. I think it's coming your way. That's the best that I can say about this thing. As far as is it done? I mean, it only does this. It's not a good look. Maybe your bounce here takes you up as high as like 240, but your trajectory, your path is not that of a bullish kind of circumstance, my friend. Bond. Which one was it that I was saying could be the winner? Pharaoh. Was it Pharaoh? No, it was OpenSea. VELO is the next one for Keltinger. VELO. Do you remember? VELO. I gotta write this. There we go. Okay. For Keltinger, talking about it here. A little bit of a pullback now. You're at 2.4 cents. If we look at the relative high to low, 1618 down to your 1272. You could find support here. This could be fine. I think you could find support here. Let's look at the 4 hour. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm totally fine with it. Yeah. If you don't find support here at 2.38 cents, if you don't find support there, you likely will go back down to like 1.85 cents to 2 cents itself, somewhere around here, and that's fine. That's okay. You know, that's pretty normal to do. But I'm okay with that being support. I'm not going to confidently say that you're going to bounce from here. If you hold this for support, I would expect you kind of like consolidate again until like Christmas week or right before Christmas week, and then we'll see a rip going into the end of the month, going into the new year. But if not, if you don't do this, what you might do instead is something more like this. Sorry, let me more like this, right? Slowly down and then up. Then you get a nice ferocious bounce going into the end of the year. I don't know, something like that, right? Kind of at like that pace, but over here. The lowest I see you going to is 1.85 cents, but I'm not the most confident in this one, but I want to say, just based off the fibs alone, I want to say you have found support. I think that's your low. You probably do consolidate in this area for the next week or so, if not this overall area, right? It could be larger, but I don't think you break above. I mean, let me say it this way: if you do get above 3 cents, it's party time. It's time to start moving up again. So you get above 3 cents. Whenever that happens, it's time to go to like 4.5 cents, 5.7 cents. So just so you know, VELO looking good, looking good. Probably found its low, but if it didn't, it's okay. 1.8 cents to 2 cents itself, something like that. That's where we're going to go for VELO. The next one is XEN at the request of God First. XEN crypto on gate.io. A little bit of a pullback here, high to low. all the way up to your 2272 down to your 1618. It wouldn't surprise me if you went to your 1272. The minimum area to find support after rejecting your 2272 is the 1618. Technically the 1886, but oftentimes you do go to that 1618. The most that I expect this to go to would be the 1272. Rare times you do go lower, but I don't think you're going to do that. If this is a more drawn out kind of corrective phase, okay, you could go lower, but I don't think you're going to do that. You're at however many zeros that is at 60247. You could go to 602088 or find support here. The 4-hour RSI makes me think you want to go lower. The 1-hour RSI makes me think you want to go lower. The daily RSI says you could go lower and you're fine. Right? I bet you do go lower, actually. I bet you do. Kind of in line with these lows here. If you don't like that line, maybe you'll like this line better. Something like that, right? And if you don't like that line, well, then I can connect these lines, like whatever line of best fit you want. They all point to lower prices probably. So I bet you do see 602, something around there. Zen, yeah. Final crypto of the night, ONDO at the request of Kyle Keithley. ONDO Finance on Coinbase here. A little bit of a pullbacky poo-poo from a low to a high. Just below the 236, generally speaking, you would go to your 382, so I'm going to call for that. $1.19. You're at $1.46, right around $1.19. You could even go a little bit lower, so don't be surprised if you see prices as low as like $1.10. You start getting below $1, I'd be a little bit concerned, but I don't think you do. Again, I think $1.10 to $1.20 is probably where you're going to go. Closer to like $1.15 if I had to guess. 4-hour would suggest you have lower to go. 1-hour would suggest that you bounce here. 1-hour would suggest you bounce here momentarily and then go lower. So maybe a momentary bounce to start off the day and then lower. But again, you know, these lows, guys, and I'll end the video with this. Maybe I should have started the video with this. These lows that I'm projecting, you know, if it were to go all the way down, let's say to like right here, it could happen today and then you're done, you know, and then around Christmas time, then we get that pump, right? It could take until like the week before Christmas and then we drop and then it's around Christmas time and then we pump, you know. I don't know how it's going to look, but I am expecting over the next week to week and a half that in that time frame we're going to find the lows. That doesn't mean that I think it's going to be a week to a week and a half that we're moving down. If tomorrow or today most of these coins see a flash crash to the targets that I've been giving, well then we're probably not going to be moving down for a week to a week and a half. We already made the move down. Now for a week to a week and a half we're going to consolidate. We're going to slowly grind upwards. We're going to move sideways, maybe even slowly grind downwards, but we're not going to keep moving down at this pace for a week and a half. That's not what I mean. I hope that's clear. At any rate, what coin was it? Was it Moonwell? Was it Moonwell on base? Let me see. Do we remember? It was not Moonwell. Which coin was it that was the winner? That I liked as the winner. It wasn't Zcash. Was it SD? Which coin was it, man? I'm having a hard time remembering. It wasn't QRL. Let's do SD. It was something. I'm trying to remember. It was something kind of odd. It had like a 9 to 10x potential in it. I can't remember. And I don't think it was Moonwell. Was it QRL? Was it? No, because QRL already pumped, right? Man, who's the winner? It's not Pharaoh, right? 'Cause Pharaoh, that looked bad, right? Yeah, that was a not good one. Was it OpenSea? OpenSea from Less is More. That was the one. Okay, now we figured it out. Okay. Less is more. Congratulations. I think that's your first win, my friend. I think OpenSea, if I had to put my money in any of these 14 coins, this is the one that I'd be the most confident will gain the most in the shortest amount of time. I genuinely believe you're at 1.26 cents right now. I genuinely believe you'll see prices above 9 cents, maybe even as high as 10 cents by the end of this month, if not by the end of January. So and on top of all of that, compared to a lot of these coins, I don't think you move lower. I think you're literally grazing. You're at the base of where you would move to. I think you're going to move up from here. If you move down at all, it'd be a very, very small amount. You're at 1.2 cents now. Maybe you move down to like 1 cent itself, maybe. But I don't even think you do that, man. I think you hold the line here and you start moving up, but that's just my personal opinion. So congratulations, less is more. I got nothing else to say, you guys. If you like the video, hit that like button. Do be sure to subscribe. Although I'm pretty sure everybody who watches these videos, you guys are already subscribed. This is like that. You know, it's kind of crazy. Not crazy. I don't know. It's interesting how this type of video has turned. Whenever I started doing videos like this, they didn't get a lot of views. And even now, they still don't get the most views, but they get a lot more views than they used to. And I think these kind of videos are attractive to the people who have been here for a while, the subscribers who, like me, you're just sifting through the dirt. You're watching all these coins, trying to find something. You know, you're being proactive and trying to just discover something that looks like it could pump a good bit in a short amount of time. What you should put your money in, outlooks for various things in the coming weeks. You know, interesting targets, blah blah blah. I feel like it's mainly subscribers who watch these videos, so when I say hit that like button and subscribe, I'm probably that second part is probably falling on deaf ears, but it's cool. As more subscribers have come in, these kind of videos have gotten more views. They've become more of like a let's call it a staple in my YouTube videos on a nightly basis, or maybe on a bi nightly basis. Which is cool because I like doing these videos. It's always disappointing whenever you make a video that's like so long, it takes 30 minutes, an hour long, and then like 200 people watch it, and the average watch time is like 8 minutes, right? But now it's starting to change, and I don't think it's new viewers who are watching these videos longer, who are watching these videos consistently. I think it's the subscribers, but I don't know. If you're a new viewer, put it in the comments. Say new viewer, and I'm dope. And if you're an old viewer, if you're a subscriber, type in OG number 1, Golden Alpha Team, hype status. I don't know. I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm just rambling at this point. Peace. Okay, bye.